You have learned about data types like strings and numbers and Boolean values. Now we're going to talk about data structures. The first data structure we're going to discuss is the array. We're going to spend a lot of time on arrays over the course of the next several demos because there's a lot to unpack about them, and you use them constantly in coding. The idea with an array is that you can store multiple values in a list. So let's take a look. First of all, how do you even create an array in JavaScript? I'm going to create an empty array first. I'm going to call it cargo hold. And I just initialize it with empty brackets like this. This is called an array literal, and it allows us to represent the array with simple code. So this is empty. It has absolutely nothing in it, just an opening and a closing bracket. If we wanted to contain some items, let's go over and create another one. We'll put some of our crew members in here. So let's do this one with all strings. We'll have Shepherd, Garrus. Let's see, two more. There we go. All right, every single one of these is a string. We call these elements. Every item in the list is an element, and they're all separated by commas. JavaScript will not let you do this any other way, so make sure you use commas. And that makes sense because you're basically just listing a bunch of things, right, in between these brackets. It's as simple as that. Let's do one more, and this time we're going to do numbers. So I'll just do 98.6, 102.4, and 115.0. Okay, so we see we have numbers stored in this. Let's go ahead and log some of these so that you can see how they look when you actually log them to the console. Copy that down and change the names here. Okay, let's run it. And we see three arrays. The first one is empty. The second one has all four strings. And the third one has our three numbers. They look slightly different, but generally speaking, it's represented the same way, right? Opening and closing square brackets with all of the elements inside separated by commas. Make sure with strings that you are enclosing the strings with quotes themselves, but not putting the commas in quotes, because otherwise JavaScript doesn't recognize them as separate elements. Okay, let's talk about good naming practices. I could create an array, and you'll see a lot of beginners do it this way, where I say, okay, I want a list of ships. I'm just going to call it ship. And we'll have some classic shuttle names here. Okay. The problem with that is that if I just saw this variable out in the wild somewhere being used, I would assume that it was storing a single string, just the name of a single ship, or maybe something else about the ship. It's not very descriptive, right? And it definitely doesn't tell us that it's a list. So what we want to do instead is give it a more descriptive name and make sure it's plural. So I'm going to say shuttleNames instead of ship. That way it's very clear that it's a list of shuttles. Our next array, I want to cover this idea of having mixed types. It is possible, it is legal in JavaScript for you to create an array that has elements of different data types, like strings and numbers and so on and so forth. Let's do an example. Let's say we have a bunch of information about a planet. So I will create planet data, and data is actually plural, so we don't need an S on it. That is in fact plural. So I will add the string Jupiter 95, which is the number of moons, and 143,000, which is the diameter. The average temperature is negative 110 degrees Celsius. And the atmosphere is made up of both hydrogen and helium. So I'm going to create a nested array. You will learn more about nested arrays in a few demos, But I just wanted to illustrate that you can store not only primitives like strings and numbers, you can also have other data structures nested inside of a data structure like an array. So this is all well and good, but if we wanted to try to access these based on what they are, this isn't very helpful. So typically, people don't store things this way. We use a different type of data structure known as a JavaScript object. You are going to learn about that in the future, but right now we're just going to focus on arrays. All right, that's the last piece. So I'm going to quickly do a git commit. Okay. The last thing is to show you how you have practice that you can do. So there's an exercise here that'll just give you a little bit of practice creating arrays and adding different types of elements and printing them to the console to make sure that your syntax is correct and everything looks the way it should. That's all I've got. I'll see you in the next one.